Today I'm gonna be doing it's not really a tutorial, no. It's more of like I don't know what to call this actually. Showcase? I don't know. But I made a poll on my DeviantArt asking if I should do like a tutorial vid on like my brushes or like a specific body part or something, or like hands or something, and the most voted was my brushes and how I use them. And oh boy, I sure do love brushes. Like, they're my life. Without them, I'm nothing. So I'm just gonna be going over my basic brushes that I most use, whether it's in my videos or just outside of that. And my primary brushes are my everything brush. I don't know why I have this one, but yeah, my everything brush, or as I like to call it, my Z, because that's the shortcut for it. My flat blend, my blend, and that's about it. Those are my top 3 brushes that I use throughout all of my videos, I'd say, especially this one, because it's literally my everything brush. As you can see, I've kind of made very shitty things of them. Next to it, you've got what brush type it is. Is it like a brush, a pencil, airbrush, so on and so forth. And yeah, I forgot to put this in, but I guess I'll just go over this later. So let's first start with my everything brush. And if the name wasn't obvious enough, this is the brush that I use for just about everything. There we go. And by everything, I mean absolutely, like coloring, blending, line art, just sketching, everything. It is my to-go-to brush. It is my life. I love this brush so much. I've screen capped it and put the settings in here, but if you're too lazy to go pause the video and then put in the settings, or just screen cap this itself, I'll put a link in the description or something just for later of the entire brush set thing. And yeah, in my poll I said I was gonna also explain my, I guess, thought process while using these brushes and how I use them. And first, I'd like to say that my stabilizer is usually set to I'd say about range from 7 to about 3. I don't really use anything above or less. I used to have it on actually kind of high, around a 10 to a 12. And what the stabilizer does is basically it's what its name states, it stabilizes the strokes. And also, if you look at the ends are more like swoosh, more stable than, let's say, of a 0, you see? But I like to keep mine something in between it, because I think I have a fairly steady hand, so yeah. Now for my everything brush, don't want to like press really hard on it. Ooh, like for any brush really, you don't want to press hard, because it's kind of weird to control if you just really press hard. And when you press hard, you can't really see, like, the ends look stiff, sort of, they look weird, and it might be the thing you want, but personally that's not how I use it. I like to go about it with a gentle stroke. I usually like to keep the density from an 80 to about a 95 the most. Sometimes I'll amp it up to 100, but I don't know, I don't like it as sharp. I like it a bit softer looking, so I just put the density down a bit. And I never really stray to these lower people, these lower classes, to the lower sizes, unless you want to go for a more pen look. Then I guess you could do that, like put it up to 100, maybe amp up the stabilizer a bit, and it kind of looks like a pen. Maybe even good for line art, but not me. I like to keep it, like I said, at a low density and a fairly thick size. Most of the time it's at a 20, ranging from about 20 and 9 being the least that I'd use, like the smallest size I'd say I'd use. Because with this brush you can just, like, the lighter you press, the thinner the thing will be, like with most brushes. But yeah, I like to keep it at a fairly thick size. I just like having this nice line, and I can just control it more, and you got just so many options to go about with it. For coloring, I don't use it as a main coloring tool. I mean, it really depends on the picture, but usually I won't use it unless I'm going for a, I suppose, softer, more rough look. I'll explain that in a bit. Let me just get the sketch down. Also, this brush that I've made, most of these I haven't made, just I'm pretty sure this is the only one that is actually mine. I don't know which one of these I made, I guess, or which one of these I took from where, and I've probably modified them like to hell and back, but yeah, I don't usually keep links of brushes because I'll just take them and be like, yeah, this is good, this is not good. Anyway, shitty doodle. Yeah, okay, that's good enough for now. For coloring, like I said, I don't usually, like, I'll use it as a base color, maybe. Yeah, there we go. A base color, and then adding in shades possibly, but for blending, I don't use it that much. Like I said, only if I want a softer look, like here. If I wanted a more painterly look, I'd use the other brushes, but for a softer sort of looking thing, I usually use this and put the density from 80 to about 70. I forgot to give this guy a mouth. Good job, me. And since it has a slight blend on it, as you can see, the color isn't exactly the same. I do a color picking thing, like just color pick around. Like, let's say you wanted to put down this red, but you didn't like this. It's like, it's too intense, so you just color pick around it, and as you color, you just keep picking from the ends and continuing to go in on it, and just make it lighter or darker as you go on, and just color pick the entire thing. It's kind of like manual blending, sort of. Same thing with the light. Sometimes I'll use a luminosity layer to help me with the colors. Most of the time, really, because I'm bad with colors. Sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll just go directly with a light yellow or whatever I need for the moment. And yeah, this I usually use for line art, base coloring, and yeah, I'll say for blending sometimes. For basically a rough sketch of the colors that are going to be put down. And also the lighting, really shitty doodles, really like this. And I don't feel like coloring properly, so I'll just use this brush, and I'll be like, yeah, that's good enough. This is a picture. And yeah, because it's good because it can be used as a light blender, but also a solid like placer down, a solid brush that can place down colors without blending, like some of these other brushes that you kind of have to really press for it to like have the color that you want instead of just blending it through. And I suppose you could use one of these solid non-blending brushes, but the color would be too intense, and it doesn't have that thing on the side that it doesn't have like the density thing that just goes whoosh and kind of fades out at the end. So yeah, that's my everything brush. It's pretty nice. Like I said, I use it for everything. Anything you can think of, I probably use it for. Why does this person have pink hair? God knows. His hair is actually pretty bad. But look at me. Deleting it. Yeah. Anything you can think of in art that you can do digitally, I probably use this brush for that. Just everything. It's my go-to brush. It's my default brush. It's my favorite brush. It's everything. So yeah, this is the main brush. Moving on from this, let's just do that. We're just gonna be covering these two at once. Gotta name them layers, because that's important. I'll be going over these two brushes, and one of them I actually don't have a set shortcut for. So yeah, let's first go over the one that does have a shortcut, and I don't know why this has a shortcut and this doesn't have a shortcut, because I like this one better. But these are for really rough sketches. Usually when I'm just kind of doodling. It's rare that I use these brushes, but they're really nice. And I'm like, why don't I use these more? They're really good for sketching and stuff. This one, not so much, because it's a lot more sharp than I'd like it to be. Like, if I put the density on, it kind of looks nicer. But I don't know. It's not the nicest brush. Actually, with the density on, it's not half bad. But yeah, this is just a simple sketch brush for really quick things. Nothing too good. Wow. And same thing for this, except this just has a more pencil-y feel, and I'd recommend having it on a lower brush size. Once again, don't press too hard or else it looks just weird. But yeah, this brush is actually really nice. It's really nice. Like, it has that very nice traditional pencil-y feel without making it look too awful. I can't draw mouse today, I'm sorry. It's, yeah, just your really basic pencil brush. Like, I think this is the nicest one I've found through my digging through. Since I really like to hunt for them side brushes. But yeah, this is the nicest pencil brush I think I've found. And yeah, nothing much to say about these two, but since I don't use them a lot. Though I think I might start using this one. Yeah, I think I might start using this one more often. Yeah. So now that's out of the way. Again, don't press too hard. A light hand. Really, for all brushes, is just kind of a light hand. Unless you got it like this thing. Like, you could go hard with this, a bit harder, and it'd still look okay-ish, but I really recommend having a softer approach to most of your brushes. Gotta treat them gently. Treat them like a lady, like a princess. Yeah. But like I said, my everything brush is my always to go-to brush, even for sketching. So I don't see myself using this brush a lot in the future, but it does look nice. It's a very nice brush for sketching. It's a lot nicer than this, because this is very solid, and this is very, I suppose, see-through. And it's just nice. It's really nice. Yeah, very nice. Airbrush, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just a simple airbrush tool, nothing too fancy. I'm pretty sure this comes in the default settings. I don't know, maybe this is a bit higher or lower. It doesn't matter. It's just an airbrush. It's just an airbrush. Who cares? You're just a low life. You'll never be part of the cool kids. Yeah. Nothing too special about this, really. Use it for effects sometimes. For lighting up things. For effects. Just really your standard airbrush. I don't really use it for drawing. Though it's kind of nice. Yeah, I guess it's kind of nice. You could use it for sketching if that floats your boat. But yeah. It's okay. Just a standard airbrush. Anyway, I went silent for a really long time. Now to go over these ones, which are the main ones that I use in my drawings. And I don't know why I drew that there, but okay. Okay, now that I've gotten lost for a bit and I found my way back, these are my blends. And also one of my favorite brushes to use. So these two are kind of similar in the way they function, as most blend brushes do, but yeah, I'm just gonna lay down two blobs, and we're gonna take the first one firstly. Yeah, anyway, this, I do believe I might be able to find a link, I don't know. It's a very feathery brush. I think that's how I'd explain this. It's not very solid on its own, as you can see, unless you really press down and color in one spot for a while. But it's really good for hair. I use it a lot of the time for skin. Like, skin is very softish looking, but I really like using this brush. Like, just kind of put it down and... Oops, what did I do? I didn't do anything. Put the opacity down, density, and just kind of blend. And then it just looks really nice and soft. But it's not really intended, and I don't really use it for that purpose. Like, sometimes I will, but mainly I use it for hair, because you can see it's very nice for hair, and sometimes for clothes, but mainly for hair and things that are furish. It's just a very nice brush for strands, I guess you could say. It's very sharpish. Its strokes very much resemble a feather or a strand of hair or anything really. It's very nice. And then you can add stuff in with like mixing other brushes and so on and so forth, and you just, yeah, it's your primary brush for hair, I'd say. I mean, my primary brush for hair. Or just anyone's really. Anyway, moving on to flat blend. This is a bit more independent than this one. You can use it for like sketching or whatever, because you can actually see the lines, and it won't fade out like the other one. You see, this one just kind of fades out more. But yeah, this blend I use for just about everything. Hair, skin, clothes, you name it. It's basically my everything brush except for blending. It is literally just that. My everything brush except just for blending. And I really like, I have this thing for like blockish sort of style of things, even though you can't really see in my art because I just don't know how to do that. I like it. I like it a lot. It's just, I think it looks really nice, really pretty. And combining these two usually in hair just turns out great. It just, these two go together so well. I love them. again, this one you actually kind of want to go for a harder approach because, yeah, just go for it. Again, use, like with my other everything brush, use a more color picking sort of manual blend, even though it has a very strong blend set on it. It just kind of helps. With this, I'd say if you're using a darker color, go just full ham on it. If you're using a very light color, which I would recommend most of the time, use this for lighting. For shading, sort of. If you have a really dark color, then maybe. But yeah, just go full ham most of the time. Or just basically use it like a paintbrush. I think that's how I would best explain it, because when you have a little dab of paint here, paint there, here, that's the same color, there. By itself, it's kind of but once you have a little dab somewhere, you can just take the color from there, and it's like the source, and then you can just go out from there and blend it. This one is kind of an automatic, I would say, color picking, as to where you would have to, like with this, with your everything brush, you'd have to kind of color pick it and then just go like that and color pick every now and then. This kind of color picks for you, because if you go from the most intense spot, it's going to give you obviously the most intense color that it can pull out of it. If you go to a more spot, again. So yeah, this is kind of an automatic color picking, I suppose you could say. Yeah. That's for these brushes. Blend. And my last brush is, or not last, but one of the last main brushes is just a solid, sharp brush for adding things like I stated with the blender brush. It's basically for adding down blobs and colors. I don't like using it very much because I don't like very solid brushes. I like very soft and whoosh brushes. This is very whoosh, but very sharp. Too sharp for me. It'd be a nice pen brush. You could use just about anything for sketching. It could be nice for a solid pen brush, maybe even nice for line art, because it's that kind of a sharp thing. Again, for line art, I recommend actually the stabilizer being up rather than down. But yeah, I don't know. No, maybe even not for line art. I don't know. I just don't like this brush in general. But I use it a lot, surprisingly, for like just adding in color or extra strokes or defining something. Like, let's say this guy, right? I want to give him some extra eyelashes or something. So I just add this. And it looks sharp and nice. And it's just there. Wow, I made him a fucking emo. It's not a phase, mom. It's who I am. Yeah. So, oh wait, I forgot some important brushes. This is my blur brush, which I use a lot. Surprisingly, because you can't tell. It's nothing special. Here are the things. I'll probably add them in here later. But yeah, just a simple blur. Not like the airbrush or a blend. It's just a blur. It just blur things, smudges things, like you do when you would do with like your finger on a piece of paper or something. Yeah. And last is my Copic, which I use for my sketches when I'm shading and I don't feel like actually shading. It's a lot nicer than just kind of going on another layer and just putting the opacity down. Sure, it's nice, but you can't do this thing where, oh, I can actually control how much the shade will go through. Like, where's that guy? There he is. Like, let's see, go on another layer. And usually, if it's just a black and white thing, you don't have to go on another layer, but I suggest going on another layer, because sometimes it does this really weird thing Like, yeah, here we go. This is what it does. It's just weird. But yeah. You can control how intense the shading is, which I find it a lot more convenient than just getting another layer and putting it down. So yeah. That's most of my brushes. Yeah. Those are all my brushes. I hope I explained everything okay, like how to use them and stuff. I don't think I did that well. Yeah. I don't think I'll be doing another one of these videos, like for my brushes, anytime soon, because these other brushes that I have, I got quite a few, I don't use them. Ooh, I got one left. I think I'm going to sort out these one of these days, because I honestly these ones right here, excluding even these, man, like I use this mostly, this when I'm doing actual big projects, this along with it, Airbrush sometimes, and that's about it. Basically my Copic and my everything brush are what I use mostly because I'm just sketching. I'm not doing actual work. So yeah, that's about it. I hope this was somewhat helpful. If any of you need help getting SAI, just message me on my DeviantArt or something. I've got a link you can get. And yeah, that's it. I might be doing like another video soon, a tutorial, even though I've said like 1,000 times that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing a tutorial, but I do, like I make them, I really do, and then I end up deleting them because I'm like, oh, this is absolute trash, this is horrible, what is this shit, and it's probably what's gonna happen with this video as well. It's just gonna go in the trash, like the rest of things, and where I belong. But yeah, that's about it. I don't know what else to say. This is a random guy. So yeah, bye. I'll provide everything in the description. Please don't ask, because I stated the description. It is a very useful place. Yep, 10 out of 10. Would recommend to go there again. And yeah.